Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got something new here for you today from Bluetti. Had this for about 3-4 weeks now. It's the Bluetti EB3A, and we want to go over this thing. I've been doing a lot of stuff with it, and this is a little powerhouse. It has a 600 watt inverter. It has a 268 watt hour battery. So it's got a small battery packed with a big, large inverter. So you can run things, and we'll kind of talk about what this can be used for. Because one of the things I'm going to show you in this video is I'm going to make a full breakfast with it. Toast, coffee, and we're going to fry a couple eggs. And we're going to show you how that turned out. But this thing can give you emergency power because of the 600 watt inverter to power those larger things, but it also gives you the recharge capability because it is a very, very fast recharger. Even though it has a small battery, you can take that 600 watt inverter and run things that are bigger with it, but if you drain that battery down, you can turn around and recharge it very, very quickly. And we'll go over all that today, but first we'll see what ports we have. And first, up top, we have our car adapter with two 5521s. Those are 12 volts at 10 amps, both of them, or all three of them. We got our charging port here, which is an 8mm. This will take up to 28 volts and 8.5, I believe it says, yes, amps. And then we have our other charging port, which is an AC adapter. This has no charging brick, it's just an AC power cord. The brick is built internally. You have a circuit breaker here for overloads on your AC, and then you have two USB-A's at 5 volts, 3 amps, a USB-C at 100 watts. It is output only. You have two AC ports, and then you have your trusty flashlight. Let's see if we can turn it. And it has a low, a high, a SOS, and that's it. Let me double check that. Low, high, SOS, and off. So 3-position switch. So I mean, that's basically it. It's going to have all the ports you need. It also has a 15 watt wireless charger on top for your cell phones. But we'll plug some stuff into it first and show you what it's capable of. But it's pretty simple. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 items that you can charge into this thing, and that 600 watt inverter is very, very powerful. So stay tuned and we'll get some stuff plugged in. Okay, we're going to show you some items plugged into it. We're going to charge a Jackery, my Explorer 300 from the 100 watt USB-C power delivery port. We've got a Bouge RV, 32 quart refrigerator, an iPad, charging our iPhone, and we got a little light we're going to turn on over here that you can use for camping, and we'll see what we're doing. Pulling 66 watts from this 600 watt inverter. Now, just to show you that it can handle 600, we've got a heat gun attached to it right here. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. Right there. You can see it's showing 420. We'll try to turn the heat up on that. Make sure I'm going the right way. I might be going wrong. Okay, we got a heat gun that we got turned on, and now we're pulling 605 watts from this 600 watt inverter power station. So this thing is very tiny, but it packs a powerful punch. Let's turn the heat up just a little bit and see how far we can push it. We're at 700. Back it off. Let's see how long we can stay above 700. And that came back down. So we're well over the 600 watts this inverter can handle at 621. We got above 7. I tripped it a while ago at around 750, but you can see this thing can handle quite a bit. So I call it the little giant because you can do a lot of stuff with this. And what's really nice about it is the quick recharge capabilities. And what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you all the ways that you can charge it. Okay? Alright, we got our SP200 solar panel out here. We have the wire coming in, hooking right into the 8mm port. And we're going to check our solar charging. Right now we're getting 115 watts. It's been bouncing around. It's got as high as 130, since I've been watching it. And we do have a bit of an overcast day. The sun is in and out of the clouds. But I got a brief bit of hazy sunshine right now, and I'm getting 115 watts into it. At a 42% charge right now, it's saying it would take 1.3 hours to go from 42% at the current 113 watts coming in. I'll try to show you on simulated solar how much we can get into this, but right now this is the best I can do with the environment that I'm in. So and the advantage with this small power station is that it's a small battery, so even not maxing out the solar, it's only going to take 1.3 hours to get it to 100%, only getting 113 watts. So there we have solar charging. Alright, we have our simulated solar set at 28 volts. Hooked to our MC4s, coming in to the 8mm port, and this would be simulating perfect conditions. So but we did want to see the capability if we could actually get 200 watts of solar into this EB3A. And you can see we're getting 199 watts. And at that charge rate, it would take 0.7 hours to get to 100% from where we're at. So you can get 200 watts of solar in here. How often that would happen, you would have to have perfect conditions. But I did want to show that it is capable of 200 watts of solar. If we take the 3 methods of charging the EB3A with the AC cord, we got it plugged into the slot, and right now we have it on standard mode, and we're getting 263 watts. So you can charge at different speeds by going into the app, and we're in standard. We're going to go to silent mode. You should see those watts change. And now we're charging at around 100 watts. Now there is a third way, which is turbo. And I'm just going to show you the app. It gives you a warning on the app that it can reduce your life cycles, but we're just going to do it here temporarily just to show you. And now we're charging at 430 watts. And the battery's showing 53%, and it would take 0.2 hours. Remember, this is a 264 watt hour battery, so in turbo mode you can really charge this thing fast. So what we're going to do is, I don't like charging that fast, we're going to go back down to standard, and it'll settle in at around 265, and even at that rate, 0.4 hours. This is a fast charging power station, and you can use the entire capacity of this battery and charge it back up real quickly. So that's one of the big advantages of this power station. Okay, we will show the last way to charge, and that's through the car adapter, and it's going to charge between 88 and 100 watts depending on your vehicle. We're getting around 89 right now, so you can car charge the vehicle. Right now I just have it plugged into the cigarette lighter port of my EB70, and we're getting 89 watts. Okay, I do want to show you what you get with the EB3A. You get your charging cord, which plugs into the AC right there. There's no power brick with it. And I got the MC4 to 8mm. After I ordered the Bluetti, it did not come with this, but then they sent an email saying that it was coming in a separate order. Didn't cost me anything, they just sent it, and I think they're doing that for all clients because I think they've been getting some pushback by not providing at least a secondary way to charge. So you will eventually get the MC4 to 8mm, and that's what you get with the EB3A. There is no car charging outlet. If you have another power station that's 8mm, you can use that and it would work fine, but as of right now, this is what you get when you order an EB3A. We are about to make breakfast with the EB3A. We're going to make a couple eggs, make a pot of coffee, and toast some toast on this 264 watt-hour battery. We're going to see how long it lasts. See, we are at 100%. We will have to use the power lift for the toaster, but the other two items should be able to run on the EB3A because it has a 600 watt inverter. So we'll get started and show you the results. Okay, we're going to try to make our pot of coffee, and told you that we wouldn't be using power lift on it, but we will be using power lift on it because it is not handling the surge. So we got our AC on. We're going to hit brew. And with the power lift, it's working. Pulling 513 volts. We're making our coffee, and we'll check back when it's done. I wanted to show you also wanted to show you the voltage. It's at 105 volts, making this pot of coffee. So power lift function, in order for it to operate, is drop the voltage by about 15 volts, because this one actually puts out 120. So we'll unplug this and I'll look and show you again. It says it's pulling 519. This coffee pot is a smaller one, and it runs good on the EB70, but on this particular one, the surge, it just kept tripping it, so we turned on the power lift. Alright, our coffee's done. Results are, it took 39% of the battery to make that pot of coffee, but it did make it. And remember, this is only a 264 watt-hour battery. So first task, make coffee. Let's see if we can toast some bread now. And we again will be using the power lift to toast the bread. Right, now we're going to toast some bread. We've got it in the toaster. Turn our toaster on. 406 watts, 407. We can see down in there, but it's starting to heat up. So we'll check back when it's done, see what it looks like. All right, our toast is done. See if I can give you a look at it. It is toasted on both sides. And we're down to 37%, and we still got some eggs to make. Let's see if it can do it. I'll show you. We're going to turn power lift off now to run the induction hot plate. It's right here. We're plugged in, 36%, and we're going to have to cook on a little bit cooler temperature of 175. Let's see we're pulling 614. I'll try to see if I can take this up to maybe 200. And there we have it set at 200. 220, and we're still okay. On 614 watts. Just see if we can push it. Okay. 615 to 620, and we're over what the inverter says, but let's see if it can do it. Alright. Right now we're letting the pan heat up, and we're going to make a couple fried eggs. So hang on and we'll get the eggs in the pan and show you what it looks like. Okay, we're cooking at 240 degrees. And I just want you to see power lift is off. We're pulling 623 watts. That's over the 600 rating, down to 21%. And our eggs are frying. So we've already made coffee. We've made toast. We're just waiting on our eggs and we can have breakfast. And this 264 watt hour power station has made all of it. Okay, we'll give it a few more minutes. We'll flip our eggs and we'll show you the finished product and what we end up at. Okay, we finished. We made a couple eggs, some toast, and a pot of coffee. And this little 264 watt hour power station made it all and still has 15% of the battery left. Now the point is are you going to use this way all the time? Probably not, but this thing just made a breakfast for you. And in a power outage situation, if this is all you have, you could get by. And if you also have a solar panel, you can charge it back up and use it again. So there's still enough room here to run some lights, charge your phones. So in an emergency power outage, could you do some stuff with this? Definitely can. And there's a look at the finished product. 2 eggs, 2 pieces of toast, and a cup of coffee. Let's eat some breakfast. Okay, real quick, I want to show you the app because this does have app control to it. And we've got our EB3A right here. So once you add the app, you just hit the connect button. It will locate it, and there's what you get. So we have our input right here, and we can show here that we're getting our input. If it's coming from the grid, it's on this side. The PV's on this side. Right now we're getting 264 watts from the grid. And then we got our DC out and our AC out down here. Now you do have some settings that you can turn on. There you can see our DC came on, and we can turn our AC on. So now we can show that. So let's turn those off. And then let's look at some of our settings. Here's your charging mode. You got 3 modes that you can charge: standard, silent, and turbo. Now I'm going to try to get to where you can see the screen of the EB3A, because right now we are in, right here. We're in standard mode, and we're charging at 266 watts. Let's cycle down to silent and see what it does. Watch the watts. It gives you a warning. Hit OK. We should go down to 100 watts on our screen. And let's see what we're getting here. 106, 105. Okay. So if you want to charge in silent mode, less watts, you can do that. Your other is turbo. Now when you click on it, it's going to give you a warning. It says you can charge at 350 watts maximum charging rate, and it says recommend to activate this mode only when urgent power is needed, because it can reduce your lifespan of the battery. But we're going to do it just for testing purposes here. We're in turbo mode, and we're going to give it a second. And it's not going into turbo mode. We'll take a look at that. It might be because we're at 97%. But we'll come back to that. We got eco settings. You can have turn eco on, and then it comes on right there. You can set that for, and then what that means is it'll shut the power station off after 4 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour. I leave mine off. And then the other feature you have is the power lifting, which we showed you in the cooking of our breakfast. You can turn that on, and now you can go over the 600 watts. You got your LED light you can control right here. You got your SOS. You got your high, and you got your medium. And then again, you can just turn it off. So you have full app control right there. And we're going to go back to standard. I'm going to run this battery down just a little bit and see if we can't get it to kick into turbo mode, just to show you that. Okay, we're going to try this again with the app. We got our AC plugged in. We're in standard mode. 87%. We are going to try to switch to turbo. Okay. And we are having a little glitch. Now I've noticed one of the things with this EB3A on the charging, going from the different modes, sometimes as always, it's not fluent. See, it has no trouble going down to silent. Let's see if we can take it to turbo now. And for some reason it's limiting it to 64 watts on turbo mode. Now I did show earlier that we were in turbo mode when we were doing the AC charging, and it could be that it has to do with the percentage. I didn't run the battery down far enough, but you can use turbo mode. And that's the only negative. You know, the charging modes are a little glitchy. And I don't know the exact wattage that it, you know, limits the turbo mode. So it could be that I'm not. Now when I was doing it, you know, earlier in the video, you could see that there was a lot lower percentage charge on the battery. So it could be that, you know, maybe it needs to be below 80%. That I don't know, but I can go to turbo mode. As you can see, and it's allowing me 257, but that's no different than standard mode right at the moment. Okay, so there's your Bluetti app. Also, just to cover real quick, you can do firmware upgrades, and that's what you can see right here. But I'm going to tell you, when you do a firmware upgrade, do not let your phone's screen go dark in any manner, because what happened to me one time is I was doing the firmware upgrade and it locked up the EB3A. I thought I broke it, and I'm going to put the screen up to show you what I was getting. You just get that solid line. I had to call, well, I didn't call, I went to the Bluetti group on Facebook, and they said you need to let the battery run all the way down, do not charge it, and then you can recharge it from that point, and it'll reset, and then you can do your firmware upgrade. So watch when you're doing your firmware upgrades that you keep your phone screen on at all times, and I would suggest doing it over Wi-Fi and not over your phone's, you know, service plan, as far as, you know, like 4G or anything like that. I would make sure I do it when I'm using Wi-Fi. Okay, I want to show you the UPS feature of this power station. We've got our heat gun pulled in where we were plugged into the wall, and we're charging at 257 watts. So let's turn our AC on, and we're still charging, but I'm going to unplug the power from the AC. Now you'll hear a slight hesitation, but right now we're not running on the power station, we're running on the UPS. If you can see the light there, it says UPS function is activated. Now I'm going to, give me a second to grab it. We're going to unplug, and now we are running off of the power station. Didn't really hear that hesitation, but now we're back on the UPS. There it is, it kicks back on. So it does have a UPS function for computers and stuff like that. I don't really have a desktop to check it on, but I've not had any issue checking it with anything else. As soon as you take power away, it transitions and runs through this. So this is a great option for emergencies. And there it went. You could kind of hear this cycle down just a touch. And there it goes again. So yeah, it is a slight, you can hear it barely, but the UPS function does work, and it is a nice feature of this product. What can you use that for? I mean, lights, television, internet routers, things like that is what that little feature could be used for. But it's nice to have it, and in this small power station to have a UPS feature is pretty good. Okay guys, final thoughts on the EB3A. This is an awesome power station for what it is for. It's a 600 watt inverter, 268 watt hour battery. So for what you're getting, this thing is amazing, and the price on it normally is $299. A lot of times they'll have it $50 off, so you can get, you know, $249. And here recently they had it all the way down to $209. Now probably that sale is probably already over with by the time this video posts, but keep an eye out because you can get it for $249. And even at $299, you're getting a 600 watt inverter and a 268 watt hour battery. So, excuse me, I almost broke something here. I'm going to pull my Jackery 300 down. This destroys this as far as capability and what you can do with it. Now, does the Jackery has one thing that I like that I wish this Bluetti EB3A had, and that's the in and out USB-C port. But that's okay. In every other area, this thing to me is probably going to be the new king in the 300 watt hour power station range, because it has so many capabilities. And guess what Bluetti did? They fixed the screen. Now you got charge watts in, output watts, you have an actual percentage, and maybe it's not the best screen as far as telling how much time is left, but it does tell you a time to full or a time to discharge right underneath the percentage. And you still got your bar graph going across the top as it's charging. So Bluetti really did improve the screen on that. And this screen is very informative, because as you turn everything on, you know, it's going to let you know up here you got your DC on, your AC on, your UPS on. I don't know if it does anything. No, nothing when you turn the light on, but it has all the information that you would need, and they really improved that screen. You can charge this thing really fast, as you've seen in what I did. I'm not going to go over that. The only thing that I've had a complaint with was, like I told you with the firmware upgrade, it locked my machine up, and I had to wait 2.5 days to let this thing run all the way down and die before I could reset it on the firmware upgrade. So if you're doing a firmware upgrade, again, make sure you're on Wi-Fi. Don't do it over your phone's minutes. Don't let the screen on your phone go dark. Keep it active, because once, you know, the firmware upgrades don't take long to update, but they can, you know, in some instances take 2-3 minutes depending on your Wi-Fi or what have you, but most of the time it's less than a minute that it upgrades. But in that situation, I really don't know if it was my screen that went black. I was using my phone's minutes. I wasn't doing it over Wi-Fi, and I'm thinking maybe that's what caused the problem. But either way, it locked it up and it was stuck in upgrade mode, and I had to let the battery run all the way down to nothing, plug it back in, and then I could you know, do the firmware upgrade. So if that happens to you, unplug it and you're just going to have to ride it out. All right, other negatives, a little glitchy on the charging between standard and turbo. So, you know, all of them are, and I think they're upgrading that because it's gotten better. I've had like 3 firmware upgrades since I've got it, and it's getting better and better. So overall, this thing is amazing, and in the 300 watt hour, I think Bluetti's trying to capture all the spots, because I think if you watch my EB55, I think it's an awesome in that 500 watt hour. But they brought this one in because they did some upgrades. They've got the screen fixed. They got the app now available. And it is a Bluetooth app, just so you know. And I prefer Bluetooth over it being a Wi-Fi app, because I don't have to have this hooked up to the internet. I just need Bluetooth. So, all in all, great power station. Down in the comments, let me know what you think about it. Have any questions, any things that I missed or that you want to see this thing do, let me know. And I thank you, and have a blessed day. Also, like, subscribe.